Good morning. Thank you so much for coming to this wonderful event. We have a great program for you at UC Berkeley. So, ladies and gentlemen, we begin the conference with the inaugural session. The eminent panelists for the inaugural session are Venkateshan Ashok, the Consul General of India, San Francisco, Ms. Diane Farrell, Deputy Assistant Secretary for Asia, U.S. Department of Commerce, International Trade Administration. Ms. Preetha Reddy, Conference Chairperson and Executive Vice Chairperson, Apollo Hospitals Enterprises Limited. And Nicholas Dirks, Chancellor, University of California, Berkeley. Richard Lyons, Dean, Haas School of Business, University of California, Berkeley. And Ms. Rekha Sethi, Director General of All India Management Association. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome them with a huge round of applause. May I now invite our Chancellor, Nicholas Dirks, of University of California, Berkeley, to deliver the welcome address.
Good morning, welcome. I am delighted that UC Berkeley is hosting the inaugural US-India Conference in Northern California in collaboration with the All India Management Association. It is, of course, a great pleasure to be here at the Haas School of Business, but for me it is a particular pleasure to be part of an effort to bring together our university and India around the kinds of issues that are being discussed at our conference today. We very much hope this event will strengthen bilateral relationships, both between the US and India generally, but in particular between the University of California, Berkeley and India. And this, I have to confess, is a personal as well as an institutional interest on my part. I've been a scholar of India all of my life. I've gone to India from childhood in the 1960s through study abroad when I was in college and research stints when I was doing a dissertation and afterwards. And I've seen India change enormously during that period of time. Back even when I was doing dissertation research, if I needed to call my parents, I would have to go to the local post office, book a trunk call, and wait hours for the possibility that I might be able to say, hello, hello, and maybe get a voice on the other end of the phone. Now, of course, cell phones are being used by shepherds and farmers in the most remote villages of some of the areas that I did my fieldwork in. And we know, of course, that India is a center, not just for communications, but for the development of information technology. And it is a wonderful moment, not only to acknowledge the extraordinary dynamism of the Indian economy, but to partner with colleagues in India around both mutual interests, shared concerns, and our efforts, of course, not only to think about technological development, but also to think about it in the context that we always think about it at Berkeley, where we strive for a fair and inclusive society and work towards social justice as well as scientific technological progress. So this conference comes indeed at a propitious time. India is now currently the fastest growing economy in the world. And of course, the American technology sector, which is so importantly centered here in California, continues to grow, increasing demand for talent and for innovative research. So we think that this conference is a very important moment to connect not just many of the kinds of activities going on in Northern California, across California, in fact, but specifically at our university, where we not only are welcoming a partnership with India and the All India Management Association, but have partnerships across our campus that suggest the extraordinary vitality and innovative character of the educational and research enterprise. And one of them has to do, for example, with the way in which our Haas School of Business, our College of Engineering, and colleagues across the sciences and indeed the social sciences interact on the campus. And so this too is an effort to bring together the full set of resources on our campus to bring to this effort. Through events such as this, we also hope to provide an opportunity for those in our Bay Area and Silicon Valley ecosystem to learn about India's growth and development and the potential for participating in and supporting the country's future. Beyond that, the educational and research endeavors of our university are inherently oriented towards both the present and the future. Every year we send our students equipped with the tools necessary not just to facilitate, but to lead innovation into a workforce, and it's a global workforce and a global ecosystem, and India and California play an extraordinarily important role in both. So at the same time that the basic and applied research conducted in academic laboratories is building the foundation for continuing innovation in the future, here in the Haas School of Business, we have our Garwood Center's Open Innovation Project, which is prototyping a scalable smart village in India under the direction of Professor Solomon Darwin as an example of the kinds of things that we think we can do, and we can not only scale this project, but in fact scale it across a range of different kinds of village to urban settings, where of course the resources of Berkeley can be brought to bear from every corner of its excellent faculty and student body. So this morning I wish the AIMA and the Haas School of Business great success in many joint projects and programs in the future. And I thank you all for being here. I hope you have a wonderful time on our campus, and I look forward to hearing about the fruits of this conference in the course of the weeks and months and years ahead. So welcome, and thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Chancellor Dirks. I guess we have, oh, good, thank you. Thank you, Chancellor Dirks, for your kind remarks, and thank you for making time to be with us this morning. Now I would like to introduce our Dean. He's the most innovative Dean in the world. During my tenure here, I've seen him manage this wonderful school, and every other program that we have here is leading through innovation. That's his slogan. Richard Lyons began as Dean of University of California's Haas School of Business in 2008, having served as an acting dean in 2004 to 2005. His research and teaching are mostly in international finance, though his most recent work explores how business leadership drives innovation, an area of strategic importance to UC Berkeley. In 1998, Rich Lyons received Berkeley's highest teaching honor. May I also add that he also served as the Chief Learning Officer in the interim between his deanships at Goldman Sachs. It's our pleasure to invite Dean Lyons to the podium.
I think I'll use this one if that works for you. So this is a very important day for us. It's an exciting day to have this group of people. You know, you look at that agenda and you look at the people, and I'm looking at many of them right now and got a chance to have dinner with many of you last night. It's an extraordinary convening. That's part of what great educational institutions do. We create knowledge and we disseminate knowledge, but we also convene and we bring people together around topics like this. So we are hoping, and I hope you are hoping, that this will be an ongoing tradition here at Berkeley Haas. All eyes are on India, right? The world's eyes are on India. It was only about 10 years ago that all of us first heard that acronym of BRICS, right? And boy, if there's one of the four that people are really paying attention to, and rightfully so, right? It is India now, 10 years later. Of course, all of those economies and many others matter a great deal. I thought I would offer a couple of thoughts on the connection between this business school and this university and India. You know, Berkeley has over 1,000 alums living and working in India right now. The Haas School has nearly 200. We have a bustling alumni chapter in Bangalore. This is just the business school, the Haas School. The Haas School has alumni representatives that are organizing activity in Chennai and in Delhi and in Mumbai. And anyways, these are the sorts of things that any globally present business school absolutely needs to do, and these activities are very, very active. If you look, for example, we have 6 degree programs at the business school here, Berkeley Haas, and if you look at the biggest one in terms of the number of people, it is our #1 ranked part-time MBA program, what we call our evening weekend MBA program. And if you actually look at the talent in that program, there is a remarkable fraction from South India. Now, these are people who are working full-time, many of them in Silicon Valley, many of them in STEM fields, as you might imagine. And so if somebody said, could we get a list, for example, of the 30% of these wonderful part-time MBAs that you're graduating every year that know something about or descend from the region and country? You know, it's just a remarkable flow of talent that we have coming through this university, right? So that's an exciting part of who we are and what we do and our ongoing connection with India. Solomon Darwin and our Garwood Center for Corporate Innovation, right, has been very, very active. You heard about, many of you know about the small villages and open villages and cities events and programs that we're developing. And that's an exciting set of experiences and opportunities for our students. I just thought I would say a couple of things. You know, this Garwood Center that you see here, it was on the slide earlier, the Garwood Center for Corporate Innovation. We are just launched, just a couple of quick thoughts here. We just launched something called our Innovation Acceleration Group. Our Innovation Acceleration Group. What does that group do? That group's promise is measurable improvement in your company's innovation processes. We don't come in and try and change it. Let's make your innovation processes 20% more effective. How do you do that? Anyways, it's a group that the website is innovationaccelerationgroup.com. This is a group that takes a lot of the know-how that we have, intellectual and also practical, and says, how do we start to translate that more and more into the marketplace and into people that are in the room, right? And so that's some of the stuff that we are doing that's really an important part of how we are evolving as a school. I will close with this idea, right? As we think about the vitality, the dynamism that is in these countries, in this region, in your companies, one of the things that we talk about, because the word innovation is one that's heavily used, it's a good word, but we all know it's very heavily used. So if you thought about, all right, what is the problem we are all trying to solve? Whether you are talking about a for-profit enterprise or you're talking about a civic enterprise or what have you. Enterprises don't become fit in an evolutionary sense by being the same as other enterprises, right? Companies get paid for being usefully different. They survive by being usefully different, by producing usefully different faster than other players in their environment. You can call that innovation, you can call it whatever you want, but it is in fact the problem we are trying to solve. So when you go back into the way we taught strategy at business schools 20 years ago, and you competitive advantage and all of those wonderful terms, but it's not a static game, it's a dynamic game. And it's a dynamic game that is so much less about producing low-cost winners. It's mostly about producing usefully different, faster than the rest of the players. Now, we sometimes use the word innovation to describe that, but that's the problem we're all trying to solve. And that's not just a technology industry problem or opportunity, right? You hear more and more CEOs of companies like airlines saying, we are a technology company with wings, right? So this is fundamental stuff. This is the epicentric geography for thinking about these things. And we are excited to have you all here. Okay, welcome and thank you.
Thank you, Rich Lyons, for that wonderful remarks. Now I would like to introduce a very special person, Ms. Rekha Sethi, Director General of All India Management Association, to present her remarks. Ms. Rekha Sethi is the Director General of All India Management Association. Since she took over in 2008, Rekha has established AIMA as a preferred platform for discussions and debates on management and strategy issues, and has deepened AIMA's relationship with the government of India. And she is on the board of several leading organizations and also serves on the Executive Council of India's National Board of Accreditation. It gives me pleasure to welcome her to the podium.
Thank you, Solomon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to add my welcome on behalf of AIMA to this gathering today. I especially want to thank Chancellor Dirks and Dean Lyons for having us here, for hosting us here. It's a privilege for AIMA to partner with Berkeley. It's a great school and very well known in India, and I think it's our privilege to be here today. So thank you very much for your graciousness and for your hospitality. I want to thank Solomon for helping us put together this program. He's been a dynamo as far as we are concerned. We have been working with him now for the last 5-6 years, and it's been a pleasure. Thank you, Solomon. I also want to take this moment to thank all our speakers today, because they are the ones who make this program special. As I said yesterday, it's not us who should get the credit, but the names sitting here in the front who should. So thank you, Satish, Reddy, Paul, Jacob, Sachin Pilot, Preetha, Reddy, Ambassador Ashok, Sam Pitroda, Diane. It's a pleasure to have you here with us, and the others who are not here so far. And thank you for making this program really, really special for us. Just a few quick words about AIMA. We are the apex body for management in India, and we have over 30,000 members through 66 local management associations all over the country, who are arms and legs, and they reach a whole gamut of people all over the vast country. AIMA imparts management education and training to young students and company executives, and it helps companies test, recruits, and evaluate employees. Apart from our focus on management, AIMA has also joined the ambitious Skill India program by setting up a sector skill council which focuses on entrepreneurship and management, two very key areas for India today. However, the foremost mission of AIMA is promoting innovative and global management thinking among Indian enterprises. AIMA has created many national and international platforms where leaders from governments, politics, business, academia, and social sector come together to brainstorm the larger economic and management issues. The US-India Conference is an important addition to AIMA's global calendar. We have recently finished a conference in the Middle East in Dubai, focused on India and relationship with our Middle Eastern friends. We are also working very closely with Horasis, which is a global think tank, and we just finished a conference in Lisbon before we came here. We are also the India partners for the St. Gallen Foundation of the St. Gallen University, and we work very closely with the Asian Association of Management Organizations, which AIMA is a part of, and which focuses on Southeast Asian management associations coming together and working together. It is a privilege for us to work with the Haas Business School to create the US-India Conference as a platform for dialogue between thought leaders of India and the US. This conference is a forum for energizing cooperation between the two countries, particularly in the area of knowledge, technology, and geo-economic leadership. The US-India Conference is an important initiative for AIMA, as India's engagement with the US is set to grow exponentially. With the visit of a Prime Minister here a number of times, we see great opportunities for India and US to work together. And in fact, we are working together in some very important areas of IT, communication, and technology. The conference today is to take these areas forward, and we hope that we would be able to establish the US-India Conference going forward as a preferred platform to have business academia, and media come together and focus on the issues faced by the two countries. So with these brief words, I'd once again like to thank Berkeley, Haas, for having us here. I'd also like to thank our sponsors, Apollo Hospitals and Dr. Reddy's lab, for making it possible for us to host an event of this magnitude. And last but not the least, I'd like to thank TIE Silicon Valley and US-India Business Conference for being such great partners and for helping us put this together. Thank you.
Thank you, Rekha. Rekha is a fine leader. I have been working with her, as she mentioned, for several years now. If there's anything that I need to get done in India, I give her a call and it gets done. She's very well connected with both the corporate world as well as the industry and the government. Now I would like to introduce another fine leader, an innovative leader from India. I worked with her and her company, her organization, Apollo Hospitals, when I was teaching a course in IBM Watson, Cognitive Learning. Apollo Hospitals has opened up all their resources to work with me and with my students and lent a lot of support. So the first Watson course was taught here at Berkeley, and Apollo Hospitals was the first partner that opened up their data so that we can experiment and do some co-innovation there. Ms. Preetha Reddy is our conference chair, and she's the executive vice chairperson for Apollo Hospitals Enterprises. Ms. Preetha Reddy was pivotal in Apollo Hospital Group emergence as Asia's foremost healthcare provider. She is also the managing trustee of the Apollo Hospital Education Group. She works closely with the industry bodies and the government of India in advancing the healthcare policy and issues in that country. It gives me pleasure to welcome you, Preetha.
Namaste, ladies and gentlemen. It's, as always, a pleasure to be at such a fantastic institution. And thank you for the invitation and the opportunity to be able to come here and interact with all of you. Our Consul General, Venkateshan Ashok, Secretary Diane Farrell, Chancellor Dirks, Dean Lyons, Solomon, of course, our friend and Executive Director, Rekha, the fantastic speakers and faculty here, ladies and gentlemen. It is a pleasure to be here with all of you this morning, and I think the timing couldn't have been better. I know this is the first time that Berkeley is doing an India conference, and I hope that this will continue as a tradition. It's been very successful in all the business schools, and I know that the students of India, the alumnus, put this together and they invite speakers from India. And it's a twofold strategy. It really helps people of Indian origin who have done phenomenally well in the US to really understand how India is transforming. And it also makes people understand that India is actually a good place to do business in. While there are, many challenges, there are many pitfalls in a developing country, we must understand that India is the largest democracy, has multiple states, and literally multiple governments. So there's a huge contrast between the way, the United States, which for a lot of us is actually a second home, and the way India functions as a democracy. And I think we're learning to come to terms with that. We're learning to understand that and trying to see how can we work together closely from business partnerships, from intellectual partnerships, from research partnerships, and what's close to my heart is healthcare partnerships. And I think the time is fantastic now. We as a country, I think, are, poised for success, and I'll tell you why. We're looking at the EU going through the turmoils it is. We're looking at Brexit. We're looking at, the economy in China now trying to, literally they're going to have to reinvent themselves because they wanted to be the retailers to the rest of the world, but it doesn't work like that anymore, and we're coming to understand that. But what India has is a large English-speaking, English-educated workforce, so the barriers are much less. We have people who are willing to, go anywhere and work really hard and to be extremely innovative. And I think innovation is part of the Indians' DNA simply because that, a lot of things which are taken for granted in the rest of the world, the Indians actually have to fight for. If it's water, you have to be innovative and try to find ways for good water resources. If it's healthcare, cheaper models of healthcare. If it's banking, how do we take banking from the urban areas to the rural areas? How do we transform our villages? How do we use technology to really make life easier, to make the country more secure, to look at security for our people? So I think while we look at it as challenges, we also look at it as an opportunity. And today is probably the right time to look at the growing India as an opportunity to do more, to do better. There is a business opportunity, but there's a social objective also. We have a social responsibility as Indians to maybe come back and give to society. But I don't think a social objective needs to come for free. And I don't think profit is a dirty word, because you have to make money somewhere to invest somewhere else. And I think that's probably what a country like ours is looking for, is for people with an innovative mind, people who are attuned to technology, people who really want to make a difference in, over 1 billion lives. And I think that's really what the horizon is looking at. We have, the previous government put a lot of reforms in place. And the present government, I think, is trying to make it a little bit more focused, branding it as Digital India and Skill India and Make in India. But I think both things are really going to help. And, if life is going to be better in India, if it's going to become a favored investment destination, then I think it's a job well done. So I'm so glad that we could put this conference together. Thank you all for the support, and especially for the Chancellor and the Dean of the Business School for supporting this vision, because we only want to see how can we literally make things better in our part of the world, and how can we make the ties closer with the United States. My father was one of the early people who left India and came to the United States as a doctor, and this was in the late 50s. So, we all have this emotional attachment to the US, and now we see that, a lot of the workforce is actually from India, and people aspire to come and live in this country, and so they contribute both to the economy of this country, and then they find ways and means to look after India. So I think it's a great partnership. It's a partnership which has to be nurtured for the future. We have to cement the relationship strongly so that we can build on that. And I think that's what we would aim to do. And I hope the conference continues. Thank you, Rekha and Solomon, for making this happen. And I hope that this is a yearly event, and all of us are just so happy to be here. And I must thank all our friends who accepted to come and speak. It's not easy. It's a whole day, and sometimes a little more than that, to fly here and address the people here and interact. So thank you all for being here today. Thank you for the invitation.